They are still reluctant due to I think the trust can be only built up by making them aware, right? By spreading the awareness. So things has to happen.
But the funny thing, Dhanika, is the fact that that age that you are talking about, they have no problems if their children do it. And they have no problems if their children do it for them.
That's the thing. That's all about awareness, right? So the children is aware about how it works, and there can be what is the chance of risk there, and what is actually the comfort comfort there, right? Convenience there, right? But lesser you are aware about that, lesser you have knowledge about that, higher you get to fear about it, right? That's same for anything.
For anything, so most likely you might not necessarily use it.
Exactly.
Now as fintech continues to obviously evolve in Sri Lanka, what opportunities do you see for Sri Lanka that actually can drive financial inclusion through digital solutions?
Right now actually we see a trend of people getting into digital things, right? Not just payments, but using digital facilities for their day-to-day life. So we also did a significant part of that by integrating financial services or fintech services to our Helakuru app as well, because we again capitalize our user base there. Right now actually we have you mentioned that 16 million downloads. From that we have about 4-5 million active users who daily weekly using our app, so that we use it as a channel to get these digital services familiar to the common users, masses, specifically, so that actually now we see a huge improvement or growth in actually people using these simple things, right? Making a payment online, making a bill payment, utility bill payments, electricity bill, water bill, and making a reload, making a postpaid bill payment online, and making a QR payment at a shop. We see a growth there. I think that growth has to be expedited by the fintechs. More fintechs come into the picture, right? There's no way to increase the adoption, consumer adoption, than making them services as much as services available.
Okay, I get it. Okay, so more services that are out there that are pushing fintech, the more aware people become, more people will use it.
Exactly. Otherwise, I mean, if we wait, people until people adapt to these things, to introduce things, it doesn't happen in that way.
Got it.
It's something like a chicken and egg problem, but you have to offer the services which can be used by common masses in their day-to-day life, right? And they will start by those simple things, and that awareness we can grow it to the level that they use their card online and make a digital online payment by step.
A classic example, I suppose, is the fact that we were all forced to use QR codes to pump fuel.
Exactly. People who didn't have any knowledge, who didn't have any knowledge about QR code, in a couple of days, couple of weeks, everyone got to know about that.
That's right.
And this can be scanned. Once this is scanned, there's something happened in phone. That awareness is enough, right? But if there's nothing, no usage of QR in the country, right now. After that fuel crisis,
there is very low usage of QR.
Very low usage. Right. That's my point. So there should be services available to make the people adapt. It will not happen other way around.
Because I actually over the weekend I went for a play, and the whole process in terms of actually scanning your ticket was actually through a QR code, which made it easier for them. So again, there is no paper wastage, everything pretty much is as far as digital is concerned. Dhanika, in the next, maybe let's talk about the next 5 years though, right? Where do you envision the role of fintech in Sri Lanka, and where do you envision the role of fintech pushing Sri Lankan economy in the next 5 years? I'm sure in the next 5 years, the adaptability will be far higher than we are right now.
Exactly. So, not just fintech, not just digital payments, but digitization itself is essential for Sri Lanka to grow, because we have a very critical productivity issue in the country, right? So most of the maybe government organization, most of the traditional private organizations, they are not productive, right? They are not productive. So one way that a huge way that we can increase productivity in any process is actually make through digitization, right? There has to be process changes, there has to be the changes in the way we do some things, right? There has to be that mindset change.
Mindset is most important,
exactly.
I think.
So mindset change as well. So when that is done, we can actually increase productivity of many of the things in the country through digitization.
Right.
So that actually again comes to the digital payments aspect as well, fintech aspects as well, because if you think about a government organization, right, a payment process is a essential part on any government organization,
right.
and people has to spend a whole lot of time for that, going to this counter and that counter and get a receipt from that, and they do not accept card payments or any other. You have to have cash, right, and then get the slip from another counter and submit it to a different counter, likewise. So if we can actually make all these processes digitized through fintech services, through digital payments, right, we can actually make it far more efficient and effective and productive for the citizens in the country, and if you use it for the other private organizations, for their customers as well. So in the improving the country's productivity, digitization actually plays a very significant role.
And people are willing to pay for convenience.
Exactly, because this is an era. People are lack of time, right? People lack of time. So if there is a service or if there is something that actually gives you some extra time, right? That means save your time. People are willing to pay.
That's right.
That has to be understood by the decision makers and all that, to make their processes, even at a cost, to make their processes efficient and effective. Right. People will pay that cost and use it.
And people do use it. I mean, now when you see lots of apps that actually come about, even delivering stuff to your homes, and where it's convenience. It could be marginally higher than normal, but yes, the people are willing to pay for it because it actually, like you said, saves that time.
Exactly.
So Dhanika, do you how far away in Sri Lanka do you actually see a cashless society?
I think it depends on actually, as I mentioned before, also the age of the people as well. So I think it will take a little bit of another generation, at least about 10-15 years, for a cashless society, because we can, if we segment our market, we can actually segment and convert some segments very easily, like Gen Zs and people born in the digital era. It's very easy to make them cashless and adapt to digital. But the elderly people, and it will take some time, right? It will take some time. So that's my view on that. But for it to happen, at least in about 10 or 15 years, we had to start doing stuff right now. Right?
Why is it, I mean, if I'm to put you on the spot though, why is it that India is largely a cashless society? I mean, at least about 60 to 65% of India is pretty much cashless, because wherever you go, you can actually pay off your phone, you can pay off your QR code. And they are our closest neighbors, and I mean thinking patterns are also very much the same. We share culture. Why? How is it possible that they push a massive country like that towards a cashless society, and we're still struggling?
Yeah, I think India's journey was actually influenced by many of some of the critical decisions made by their government and leaders, right? If you think about the demonetization that President Modi did, so that actually forced people for the digital adoption, right? And then actually another one is when they introduced QR payments to their common man and day-to-day stops, street vendors, they actually made the fees zero, right? They waive off the fee and adopted it. But as a country, we are lacking that strategic thinking in the country's leadership as well. We have actually failed to get that kind of critical decisions when they were needed, right? So when QR payments were introduced to Sri Lanka, it was the MDR or the fee that has to be bared by the merchant was introduced at 1%, right? But later, actually, when they see that it does not adapt, they actually made it 0.5%. But still, it's same, right? So there has to be, we have to do some dedication for our future aspirations, right? So government of India did that, and therefore they see a huge adoption in QR payments as a country. So when people were forced to do it through that demonetization and through that pricing strategy, fee strategy they used, everyone had to use it, and they felt the convenience over the cost, because they didn't have any cost.
That's right.
So they see the convenience. But our people, what has happened to us is still our merchants, our vendors, even the street vendors, they concern about that, even that 0.5%.
Right.
So that the convenience factor is not even considered.
That's right. Yeah.
I mentioned that it will take about another 10-15 years under the current circumstances. But if we can have some strategic decisions, critical decisions taken by the needed people, things can be moved faster.
And I personally believe, this is something that we actually spoke to most of our guests who actually came about. I personally believe where we are right now, with the digital transformation that we've seen as a country, is largely due to the pandemic.
Yes.
If there was no pandemic, we'll still be stuck in the Middle Ages.
Exactly. That's very correct, because at least what we have achieved so far is thanks to the pandemic.
And that was because it was forced.
Yes, forced, exactly. And likewise, India's adoption was again forced.
That's right.
Right. So countries have to do that kind of things if we are to move forward.
Something drastic, you're saying.
Definitely. And why we are so behind the world right now is no one has made that strategic decisions.
Because we're very comfortable right now.
Yeah, we are still in our comfort zones.
Yeah.
And the leaders also have to have that, the out of the box thinking to where we had to move the country.
That's true.
Right. If they don't have such a vision, and if they are also comfortable under the current status quo.
It's nice to obviously hear the words as digital transformation. The country is going to be digitally transformed by 2040 or 50 or whatever. But then obviously, like you said, there are layers that need to change for us to go there.
Exactly.
Right?
There's so many, hypothetical fantasies that we have. Okay, this will happen in this way, that way, but we have to do the stuff if we are to go to that targets, right? Otherwise it will never happen automatically.
It's just a pipe dream. You just keep thinking about it.
Exactly.
But Dhanika, it's been absolutely fabulous listening to your side of the story and basically looking at how you brought in Helakuru and PayHere, which of course has revolutionized, honestly speaking, the Sri Lankan ecosystem in terms of Fintech, and also with Helakuru. Now, reflecting on your journey so far, if I am to put you on the spot, what are you most proud of at the moment, the lessons that you've learned which have actually shaped your approach to innovation?
Actually, I'm so much proud about the social impact that I'm making throughout the country. From one aspect, for the consumers, through Helakuru, we have been able to change the way people express their ideas on digital, right? The language, we were using Singlish, English characters before, and we have right now everyone very comfortably express themselves on digital media by their own language, mother tongue.
Right.
And also we were able to make people aware through our news alert service, through digital notification technology, SNA. That is also something that we think that a huge achievement as a country, because if you speak about the political aspect, the country was so much deceived, the people in the country were so much deceived because many people are not aware of what is happening out there, what is happening in the country. So through our real-time notifications, that news alert service, we could actually make a huge impact where the traditional media doesn't deliver the truth for the people.
Right.
We actually played a role there, delivering the facts that you people must know,
Right.
must aware of in that case. And also when it comes to PayHere, when most of the businesses were waiting for international parties like PayPal, we could actually challenge that status quo as well and make them conveniently accept online payments through PayHere. And right now we have processed more than 16 billion rupees
Wow.
of payments through PayHere as well. So all that social impact is what I'm really proud of. And in the time to come also, I'm seeing the way that my motivation is always actually in my vision, right? So my vision from the day one was empowering people digitally.
Right.
So that's what actually I set as my company's Bhasha's vision.
Right.
Bhasha is actually the mother company of all these products, Helakuru, PayHere, HelaPay, SNA and all that. So whatever a role that digital can play to make people empowered in the country, that is where I'm working on.
Fabulous. Just before we basically say our goodbyes, and which has been a very, very insightful conversation so far with Dhanika, and an individual who's actually taken a localized product and taken it all over the world. Dhanika, if you are today to give advice to you 16 or 15 years ago, right? The Dhanika now who basically, you know, turns back the time and gives the younger Dhanika at that time, what would you tell him?
Difficult question. Okay, I may give that advice of actually, giving the priority to the most social impacted things first.
Right.
Because in our early stages, we had to spend about 13 years for this journey, because in our early stages, actually, we tried out many things, right? So right now, people know Helakuru, people know PayHere and SNA likewise, but that is not only the stuff that we worked.
Right.
There were so many failed products, failed journeys as well. So if today I think that if I actually focus the most social impacted one from the day one, we could have actually shortened this journey and achieved much more in a lesser time. So I think that will be.
But don't you think the shortcomings and the failures actually helped you where you are right now?
Exactly. I mean, that is completely true, because every failure is actually a lesson to learn.
Yeah.
Right. So we learned many things during our challenging times. We had challenges from that central bank shutdown,
right.
And then actually we got a huge cyber attack also with to PayHere.
Right.
Severe damage to our reputation and all that. So everything is actually a lesson, right. Again and again. That's how our journey is polished, right?
Yeah.
One by one, the lesson by lesson, I got mature and our company got mature, and we can better serve our people.
Right.
So that's how we go forward.
That's fabulous. And that is something that I actually want to let all our viewers know out there, because who we see, I mean, for example, a great story there by Dhanika is the fact that who we see right now, whoever they are at the moment who are doing well, is a finished product. You don't necessarily see the trials before the finished product. You don't see the pitfalls, you don't see the pushbacks, you don't see where they've actually failed, and each of their failures obviously has got them to work harder for the next step. And that is something that we all need to understand, that every successful individual out there wasn't born successful. They always had those difficult periods. I'm sure there were times, I'm sure Dhanika also went through times where he almost gave up, that he didn't want to do it. And he said, this is just not worth my time. That's where you really need to push forward as innovators, as entrepreneurs, as digital transformers out there. So ladies and gentlemen, Dhanika, thank you so much. It has been fabulous having a great conversation with you. And an individual who's been a trailblazer, who's actually, like I said, localized product taken all over the world. It's been a fabulous success story. Wishing him all the very best. And of course, we got more guests coming up on Meet the Tech Titans, which is brought to you by Hutch, a great thought leadership podcast series. Thank you very much for Liquid Spaces for lending us their space to actually shoot the podcast series. We got more coming up. Till we meet in the next podcast series, have yourself a good day.